Humble roots, local kids. If it could be done in a car, they did it.
Fast and Furious X, the cars. Okay, so we start with Dominic Toretto. 1970s Dodge Charger RT. Okay, originally 7.2 litre V8, 390 brake horsepower, 665 Newton meters of torque, if that matters to you. So for the petrol heads, in this version has a false BDS 8-71 Roots style supercharger. Could also drive through concrete walls or wheelie at will to jump over them. That's if Dom is driving and the nitrous is working. Okay, after that, Dodge Charger SRT Hellcat Red Eye wide body as driven in Rome. So presumably that was all that was left in the European stash, or that's what Avis had left at such short notice. Anyway, it's a supercharged 6.2 litre Hemi V8, 697 horsepower, and that makes it the most powerful and fastest mass-produced sedan in the world. When driven in Rome, it's able to deflect rolling neutron bomb and outrun its blast. Not surprisingly, Dodge is a partner of the Fast series. Okay, next, Chevrolet Impala. This is a 1966 model. Dante's car, which he brings to street race Dom. The original 66 Chevrolet Impala came with a 539cc engine, 275 brake horsepower. Not very impressive. The Impala nameplate first appeared on a concept car at the 1956 Motorama. What puzzles me as a choice is the Impala is a rather innocuous antelope. It's not very big. It's moderately fast at 80 kilometers an hour, and it's only number 5 on the list of the fastest antelope in the world. The only thing it's particularly good at is running through trees, something I don't think can be said about the Chevy version. Okay, next. Glimpsed briefly, 1975 Datsun 240Z, depending on which part of the Atlantic you're from. The original Z car, still a classic, almost European lines. The stock Datsun 240Z had a 2.4 litre inline, 6-cylinder petrol engine and produced a massive 150 horsepower. The movie version has an RB26 engine replacement. Big, gold and flashy 2003 Lamborghini Gallardo. Gold-plated or painted. Lamborghini Gallardo. The standard car has a 5 litre naturally aspirated 10-cylinder V10 engine, 493 brake horsepower. Production was supervised by Audi, and that meant that this is not the most revered, the most fanatically followed of the Lamborghinis, but it is one of the best-selling Lamborghinis. In fact, it's the best-selling one since the 1960s. Not many in gold, though. Next, small, interesting Italian introduction, 1971 Alfa Romeo 2000 GTV. It drives in the convoy seat. Pretty stylish, vintage Alfa Romeo. Naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine, manual 5-speed transmission. Maximum output of 121 brake horsepower. Modest. It's not going to blow anyone away. Definitely a classic. Okay, then there's a 66 Ford Fairlane. I don't even think it's worth mentioning that because it wasn't quick even when it came out. So let's move straight on to the 1967 Chevrolet El Camino with rocket launchers. Vintage El Camino, driven by John Cena's character Jacob Toretto. Mid-range engines for the 67 model were both V8, so 5.4, and they were standard one with 271 brake horsepower and a more powerful one with 320 horsepower. The performance figures for the rocket launcher equipped version are strangely not available. Moving over to the UK, at least where the car appears, and McLaren is based, the 2019 McLaren Senna, driven by Jason Statham's Deckard Shaw. Only 500 produced. One of the most expensive and rarest McLarens, so it's most likely hidden away in collections in Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Doha. You're probably not going to see them driving around that often. It's got a special ignition cut technology which creates a minuscule pause in the engine fueling when you change gear, so it's an almost instantaneous gear shift. V8, 778 horsepower, named after, of course, Formula One legend Ayrton Senna. Also note, in the film, the license plate of Deckard Shaw's car, spells road rage. Finally, Porsche 911 GT3 RS 997, my favorite. Basically a road legal race car that you can use to go to the shops. 909 7th generation model with a 4-litre twin-turbo 6-cylinder engine, 443 brake horsepower, using the same bodywork as the 4-wheel drive version. Legendary handling. Heartbroken, it ends up blown up and on its roof. One of my favourite cars. One day maybe. And finally, there are actually a couple of motorbikes. The Harley Davidson Pan America 1250 concept for Jason Mamoa's character. It's a Pan America stripped of windshield, dash, indicators, anything to try and make it a bit quicker. The standard bike has 1252 cc's producing 148 brake horsepower. That's more than the Alfa Romeo and about the same as the Datsun 240Z, or should I say 240Z. Definitely ridden by Jason Mamoa in the movie because he's a big fan of Harley Davidson and he even made a tribute film about them. I thought he was pretty cool until then, but anyway, nobody's perfect. Okay, and finally, Letty, chasing him on another motorcycle. This one's not very high profile, it's hard to see what it actually is. I'm told it's a semi-motocross Honda, which makes sense because she does some pretty nifty tricks on it, the wheelies, and she does a spinning bunny hop over an obstacle that Dante Raines drops in front of her in the street. It's built by Alex King in London, but we don't see much of it, so I should think probably Harley had more influence in the movie. That's it, that's the fast component of the latest movie in the Fast and Furious franchise. Thank you for watching, drive and ride safely.